Hey everyone, how's it going today and welcome back to another update. So the big thing to know in today's update is that right now at this time there is a lot of speculation by a lot of news articles and resources that we may start to see the unemployment rates start to go up, actually potentially again. And the big reason why is because one of the biggest changes that is about to happen has to do with the vaccine mandates, which has recently been reported. This has technically been something that has been happening, or at least certainly it's been something that Biden and people have wanted to do for probably about potentially several months, but certainly the last couple of weeks. But the big thing that's going on now is that he is now starting to enforce it potentially. So the big thing is that they are starting to say is that many companies, essentially they gave out a warning to their coworkers or just their workers in general, basically requiring it so that if they wanted to continue working at the company, they would have to eventually get vaccinated. And apparently they gave them a deadline for when they would have to get vaccinated by, and that deadline, or those deadlines, because it depends on the company, are pretty much coming up in the next couple of weeks into basically the rest of the year. So basically the story right now is that we are already starting to see this enforced, or casually start to, see it happen. So in today's update is I really just want to talk about the vaccine mandate situation and about how, because of what's going on, there is a chance that for people that do not want to get vaccinated, these people may potentially start to lose their jobs again. So we are now starting to see even more reasons that the unemployment rate potentially may start to increase. First is because of the Great Resignation, as we kind of talked about. Maybe I'll put a video at the end that talks about it. It's essentially, the idea is that there's a movement of people now that are trying to quit their jobs because they want to find not another job, because they want to essentially find another job that's either higher paying, or just simply put, my phone alarm just rang. So the idea really is that there's a lot of people that are leaving their jobs either because they want to either find a new job, either for one that's either higher paying, or just simply put is that one they just prefer more, for whether it's lifestyle, work-life balance, flexibility, or just the actual job itself. And now we have another potential wave of people that will be unemployed again now because they don't want to get vaccinated. So because of that reason, they will be likely forced to essentially leave the workforce very soon. So in today's update is I really just want to talk about what's been going on there, how this is going to potentially impact the unemployment situation, and what this really means for us, both on an unemployment side, but actually even on just a lifestyle side. Basically how this is going to potentially impact us in our just regular daily lives. So as always, we're going to get right to it, but as always, the same exact drill. Remember to smash the like button because it is always greatly appreciated. Although you guys can decide, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos. I'll put other videos at the end, and as always, feel free to comment any personal questions, thoughts. Maybe you can feel free, if you want to maybe comment your personal thoughts about the vaccine mandates, whether you support it or you don't. Maybe I'll even put a poll on my actual channel page, maybe later on, just so that you guys can maybe see and vote for it. Maybe try to come up with an answer before you actually vote, so it doesn't become a thing where you're just voting for whatever's the majority. So I think it's going to be a really interesting one because it is relatively a controversial, highly debated topic right now. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So the story right now, what's going on is that each state, there's a little bit of a variation that's going on, but the overall idea is that they're trying to essentially create some kind of vaccine mandate in any company that has 100 or more employees. So if you happen to be in a company that, or if you were in a company or know someone that was in a company that's either mid-sized to something that's obviously to infinity, then there is a chance now that they may potentially be requiring the vaccine mandates. Now, if you are someone that supports the vaccine anyway, or if you're already vaccinated, then I think that this probably should be a great thing, at least in terms of this part of just the job search, job hunt, or just the career side of things. However, if you are someone that opposes the vaccine, then it does mean, or if you know someone that opposes the vaccine, then this is going to potentially impact a lot of things, because there is a say that this is going to potentially lead to approximately about 20 to 30% of the workforce within the companies that are very big, because again, there's obviously a lot of small mom and pop shops, but within the companies that actually require it, there is a chance that about 20 to 30% of the workforce is potentially now going to leave. leave. What makes this actually even more interesting is that because there is also a lot of data or just a lot of news now or speculation that suggests that because if this ends up happening, because in a lot of ways many of these people are technically leaving their jobs kind of because of something they don't want to do rather than something that's actually given a choice, then it is also believed that many of these people may be considered semi-fired because of that reason by just definition. And so because of that reason, there is also a lot of speculation that many of these people that leave may not even be counted as a part of the unemployment statistic because some of them may not even be able to actually physically qualify for unemployment. So the story right now is that we are now going to start to see potentially even more people get unemployed, but the wilder thing is that a lot of these people may not actually be even counted inside of the statistics, which means that a lot of these numbers are actually even more skewed than what they appear. In other words, there's actually an even deeper story to the numbers that we currently or that we will now potentially see in the upcoming weeks based off of what's going on. It will aesthetically appear based off of the unemployment data as if everything is okay, but then when you actually physically visit the shops and the stores, whether or not they can actually deliver or match up with what's going on, that's going to be something that's kind of to be determined because we are at the end of the day talking about the future, but it hasn't physically happened. But one of the big responses that we've recently had is that there are actually a lot of politicians that are starting to kind of come out about that. And this is the part that maybe will relate somewhat to unemployment, is that, for example, one of the senators that was recently that has recently spoken and commented about it is essentially Senator Roger Marshall. He is the senator of Kansas, so if you happen to be from Kansas or just knows about that, and essentially he is essentially pretty much now sending a warning or an idea or claim to President Joe Biden that if he decides to try to create this vaccine mandate, this is going to potentially wipe out a huge percentage of the workforce. So he's basically sending a warning that if they end up doing this is going to potentially impact the unemployment numbers even greater to show what's been happening. So if you are someone that's unemployed right now, or if you're still looking for work, just know is that there's going to potentially be many other people that join us. There may be debatable reasons to why they're joining us or joining the unemployed, but nonetheless, the idea is that they are joining the unemployed workforce in that sense. Now, in terms of where do the actual physical states stand, so this is the part that's actually relatively debated right now because there are many states, especially a lot of dominantly Republican states. And again, it's leaving politics aside. It's just because this is physically what's, happening. It's like, if you're part of a party, some parties, they really support, like equality for certain something, some other parties support more fiscal policies. But the idea really what's going on is that there's also a lot of differentiation between every single state, what they currently want. So, for example, I do notice is that in Texas, Governor Abbott has his own personal views about vaccine mandates and he's trying to enforce them. There are a lot of other states that kind of have their own views and they're trying to create individual state laws, even simply just put, is that pleas to the public about what they believe they should require in terms of just the vaccine mandates, whether they support it or whether they think it should be a little bit more loose. So because of that reason, we will start to see a lot of variation, but I do believe that it's very fair to say is that some of these politicians, as just mentioned, like Senator Roger Marshall, he obviously, is someone that's against all of this stuff because he believes that it's going to impact the unemployment rates and he'd rather keep people employed inside of their jobs. There are a lot of other politicians that actually believe that this actually should be required, and it's actually because of that reason, even though it may potentially lead to even higher growing unemployment rate with people leaving their jobs, they believe that it is just something necessary for safety related reasons. So how this relates to everything going on with unemployment is that because if this really does end up going through, then it means that if the unemployment rates actually do end up starting to go up, or if we start to see an even greater imbalance between what's been going on with just the workforce and then the people that are out of work, it means that we can potentially see an even greater need to do more unemployment. And especially right now, as we just mentioned, that because they are currently inside of Congress debating on the fourth stimulus package. They are, many of them are on vacation this particular week, but they will be back soon. So there is that, news, because it's that they took off for Columbus Day. If you are watching this on Columbus Day week, or just simply put release date. So it is believed by a lot of people that if a lot of this stuff starts to happen, they may potentially have an even greater incentive, or certainly to change courses. Even if you don't see it right now, maybe they're a little bit idle, they're a little bit passive, but there's a lot of belief that if this does actually end up going through, that there may be even more incentive for them to potentially try to do some kind of unemployment related extension, even if it has to be on a very local and state level. I do know most of us probably want it on a federal level. We're trying to, preach and support for it. But I think the big thing is that that's really just physically what's happening and / potentially expected to happen going forward from here. We are already starting to see this even in public media. A lot of celebrities are starting to preach out for it. If you follow the NBA, and I say this because I'm biased, because I actually am a very big NBA fan, in the Brooklyn Nets, which is also my team, it was recently reported that Kyrie Irving, who doesn't want to play, which is technically his job, he doesn't want to get the vaccine mandate, he is now being forced to sideline and essentially not allowed to basically play in all of the NBA games that he's currently, or certainly the home NBA games that are potentially coming up with the season opening up. Obviously, the biggest difference is that as a professional athlete, he is getting paid millions and millions of dollars. I'm not even sure if he might even still continue to get paid millions of dollars just because he is on contract, and we obviously are just making a lot less than millions and millions of dollars. But the idea really overall is that this is going to be a very controversial thing that is going to potentially impact unemployment, certainly about the current unemployment situation as a whole, and maybe about potential unemployment benefits if the numbers really do end up trying to show signs that maybe can point to some level of growing support for it. But essentially beyond this, that's pretty much what I really just wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys made it to the end, huge thanks. If you guys found that insightful and haven't done so, maybe consider smashing the like button. Feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts, and consider subscribing for similar videos and more. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well. As always, hoping for the best, because this is something that's happening to millions right now, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.